Welcome all. So, we are learning about the difference between the total costing and the activity based costing, and in the previous class I did a small case, and in that case we found out that that difference in the two costs are there, and when you find out that difference, we have seen that earlier the cost of this company, the product was how much? That cost was say 5 rupees, right? And now this cost is, this is a 5 rupees cost, and we are selling the product at 7.5. So, we are feeling that we are having a profit of 2 rupees 50 paisa per unit. But actually what is the total cost of this product now? When we have calculated the total cost of this product, we have found out that the total cost is 11.675. So, I was telling you the problem of the over costing and the under costing. This product is basically under costed. This product is basically under costed. So, if it is under costed, how can you actually price it? It is not coming into picture, because when we are calculating the total say preparing the total profit and loss account as a consolidated statement of the company, then these things are not coming on the surface. But when you prepare even the cost sheet, when we have prepared the cost sheet, already the cost sheet is there in this problem. If you see the cost sheet here, the cost sheet is saying that this product's cost is 5 rupees, because your method of allocating the cost is defective. When you are allocating the cost here, this method is defective. You are taking direct material cost, fine, you are taking direct labor cost, fine, but when you are allocating the overhead cost simply as 400% of the direct labor, that way we are creating a problem, and only 2 rupees you are adding here, only 2 rupees you are adding here per unit, and how much overheads you are adding here? 4,000 rupees. But what is the actual amount of this overheads in this case? And the total amount of the overheads in this case we have worked out in this statement is 17,350 rupees. How much we were adding? 4,000 rupees. This statement, if you look at, this overhead cost is 4,000 rupees, and per unit it is 2 rupees. This cost per unit, if you calculate, it is coming up as 2 rupees. But if you talk about this amount here, this amount is working out as 17,350, and if you divide it by you can call it as, if you divide it by the total amount of, that is 2000 units, this amount is more than 8 rupees per unit. So, it means where is the defect? The defect is in the costing system. The absorption costing system is not as good as the ABC, but only thing is that is very complicated system. So, when you have calculated the profit here, in the in this case, when you are calculating the profit, we have found out here is that our cost is 7 rupees, our cost is 5 rupees, our selling price is 7.5 rupees, our gross margin is 2.5 rupees. So, we are ultimately in this state of 33.3% profit, 33.3% profit. But in the real sense, if you look at, you can find out here is that under the ABC, your cost is this much, you are selling the product at this much. So, what is the situation? You are in the state of loss, and that the loss is how much? 4.175, and if you take it as a percentage of 7.5, this amount will work out as 55.7% as loss. So, under the total costing system, we are in the 33.3% of the profit. Here, when we are calculating as per this, we are in the state of loss, gross loss. So, it means now where lies the problem? Which system is the more accurate system, whether the absorption costing system or the activity based costing system? The absorption costing system says we are in the profit, activity based costing system says we are in the state of loss. So, the correct system is, the correct way of allocating the indirect overheads is, that is by distributing it as per the consumption of the overheads by the different products, and then adding up that cost into it. That is much better as compared to the total costing system, taking it as the 400% of the direct labor. That is a defective system. Because of that, this product is under costed. The problem of this product is under costed, because when you are saying it is 5 rupees, this is under costed, right? It is not over costed, it is under costed, and when it is under costed, it means you are selling this product to the Maruti at a loss. You are selling this product to the Maruti at a loss. It may be possible, we are not able to find out that when you are preparing the total statement of the cost for all the products, or when you are preparing this cost sheet by following the absorption costing system, then you are finding that yes, we are in the state of profit, but actually the total amount of the indirect cost, fixed overheads this product is consuming, that is very high. out of the total 33 lakhs of the fixed overheads which were incurred for the firm as a whole for all the products, that is very high. So, it means here lies the defect. You have very clearly seen it that when you calculate the cost as per the total cost system and when you calculate the cost as per the absorption costing system, you have seen a profit making product under the total costing system has turned as loss making product under the absorption activity based costing system, and the reason is that allocation of the direct material cost is not a problem because it is directly allocatable. Allocation of the direct labor cost is not a problem, is directly allocatable. So, I told you in the beginning, allocation of the variable direct cost to different products is not an issue, is not a problem, but allocation of the fixed cost is a problem. So, that defect which we have seen here, we are taking only simply how much cost we are showing in that, we were totally showing the cost here in this case. Only what is the fixed overhead cost? Indirect cost is 2 rupees. So, we are saying 2.5 is the material cost, 50 paisa is the labor cost, 2 rupees is the overhead cost, and finally, your total cost of production is 5 rupees. So, that defect which we have now caught, we have tried to find out is under ABC, and we are finding out here that a state of profit has been converted into the gross loss. This is a gross loss and firm is selling the product to Maruti Udyog Limited at a loss of 55.7%. Means a product which is costing us 11.675, we are selling this product at 7.5 rupees to Maruti, and we are very happy that we are in the state of profit. So, first answer to this question is we should reject the offer of Maruti to go for expansion of the production until and unless they increase the price. We should redo the whole pricing system. We should discuss with the buyer Maruti Udyog Limited, Reliance and Salaries. They must discuss this problem with the Maruti Udyog and they must tell them that we are unable to sell you at 7.5 rupees because our own cost of production is 11.675 rupees. So, it means if you want to jack up the price, at least you should pay us 12 rupees. It means in that case they have to pay 4 rupees 50 paisa more as compared to the present one, and if you jack up the price to 12 rupees then it is fine, but if you do not jack up the price then we are not able to sell you at this price or we are not able to increase the production. So, means the decision has to be reconsidered, reviewed, because the actual cost is different, selling price is different, product is under costed, product is means certainly if the costing system is defective, pricing is defective. So, it means the product is defectively priced, and what is happening is not coming on the surface. This loss is not appearing on the surface because we are not able to find out product wise product or maybe the as per the say actual consumption of the indirect cost by the different products. But now when we have converted that total cost sheet into the ABC cost sheet, we have found out the real differences coming up, and we have to take a decision to discuss this problem with Maruti and to tell the company, to tell the Maruti that we are not able to sell this for this much of price. Either you have to raise the price or we have to think something about it, or we have to look for the another buyer from us because our costing system is different. So, this is the answer to the first question, and this is a clear cut difference. In the previous classes when I discussed with you the conceptual part of ABC, that what is the ABC activity based costing? Total organization means we have 3 components. One is the total indirect cost. Direct cost is no problem. Indirect cost you have to take into account. In this case the indirect cost is 33 lakhs, right. Then we have to find out that how that 33 lakhs cost is apportioned, distributed to the different activities. As in the case we have seen here that it is distributed to 8 lakhs for the quality control, production scheduling is 50,000 rupees, change of setup cost is 6 lakh rupees, shipping cost is 3 lakh rupees, shipping administration is 50,000 rupees, and machining cost is 15 lakh rupees, right. So, total cost works out as 33 lakh rupees, and total number of drivers we had to find it out. So, when you found out the total number of drivers here, we have found out is the total product scrapped, there the total number of drivers is the 10,000 rupees, so 10,000 products, and then you talk about that the total say the production run, when we are changing up here, we have seen here that the cost driver for this was the last one, production scheduling and number of setups changed. Total is 500 times you have changed the setup for manufacturing the product. So, this we have taken as the total number of the drivers, and there 500 are not for this product only, in total we are talking about. Then the again the setup is changed for the 500 times. So, setup driver will also remain the same. In this case when you talk about the shipping cost. Shipping is total, is the total amount of the shipping we have taken here is this information is given here. Yes, that is the case. Total number of containers shipped by the unit were 60,000. Total number of containers shifted were or shipped were, that total number of containers shipped were 60,000 total containers. So, this is the total number of the drivers, but for all the products, not for this. Simply the shipments, how many shipments are done? Shipments done are 1000. Given this information to us here, shipments done are 1000. So, 1000 shipments we have done, and total products shipped are 60,000. So, it means total number of drivers are available with us, and finally the machine hours. When you talk about the machine hours, they are 10,000 machine hours. So, it means here it is given total machine hours consumed by the ancillary were 10,000. So, these are the total number of the drivers consumed by the different activities in the company as a whole, in the firm as a whole. Now, how much means you are given the total activity cost. For example, in case of the quality is 8 lakhs. A number of say total products scrapped or checked or scrapped are 10 lakhs, 10,000. So, per unit cost you have calculated. When the per unit cost is calculated, in this case, in gear wires case, in this product's case, the total number of products scrapped are 120. So, only that much cost should be apportioned to this product cost sheet, nowhere else. So, it is 120, and then we have calculated the cost of the quality control or quality checking is 9,600 only. The highest cost which has come up here is, that is for the change of the setups. Means after this quality control, the second highest is the change of setups, that is 4,800, and machine hours per machine hour cost when we have calculated, that is the third largest, 2,250 rupees. So, this way if you calculate, means you have to find out first of all what is the indirect cost, in this case 33 lakhs. The number of activities being performed you have to identify, number of the total drivers you have to identify, then calculate the per driver cost, that is the next step. After that you have to find out that the product which is in question, how many numbers or the hours of the product, this cost drivers it is consuming. So, we have to take that, and then we have to calculate the, multiply it by the number of say this per unit cost, per driver cost, number of drivers consumed by this product only, that way the total indirect cost has to be calculated, and adding up that indirect cost with the direct cost, as in this case we have done, is that was 5,000 is the material cost, 1,000 was the labor cost, total cost we had to work out, and we worked out that cost by following some system. So, we have seen here that this cost came up as a total cost which came up to us was, that is the say 17,350, that is the only indirect cost. 17,350 is the indirect cost, material cost is 5,000 and the labor cost is 1,000. So, the total cost which we calculated here was, that is 23,350, and how many units we are manufacturing? 2,000 units we are manufacturing. So, cost, total cost per unit worked out as 11.675, and now old cost was, that is 6.675. It means you are not selling the product, means the earlier cost when we have calculated the total costing system, and now the cost we have calculated is, this ABC cost is even more than the double of the cost calculated as per the total costing system or the absorption costing system, right. So, it means, and when you comparing it, this cost 11.675 with the selling price. So, this means the selling price 7.5, our cost, exact cost is 11.675. So, we have seen the difference, that rather than earning a profit or gross margin of 33.3%, we are into the state of loss, and the loss is more than the profit, and that is 55.7% or almost 67% of the gross loss is there. So, this loss has occurred just because of the problem of the under costing of the product. This gear wire, this product is under costed, and when the product is under costed, how can you price it, and ultimately say a profit making product we are selling at loss, and ultimately means this product is eating upon the profit of other products, but that picture is not coming on the surface, because the total profit and loss account you are preparing is, that is a consolidated statement, and once it is a consolidated statement, you are not able to find out product wise cost sheet when you are preparing, and that too on the total costing system. Even by preparing the product wise, the total cost is not reflected there, and when you calculate this cost as per the ABC, actual cost is reflected product wise. So, if you do it for all the products in this firm, if this for example, they are manufacturing all the products, 10,000 units are scrapped, it means how many units they are manufacturing, 33 lakhs is the indirect cost. So, if they means check and redo the whole thing for all the products, the problem of over costing and under costing will be solved, actual pricing will come on the surface, and maybe it is a possibility that many products are like this which are loss making in the present case can be converted into the profit making products, and overall profitability and performance of the company can be improved, right. So, this is the difference. I could explain it to you with the help of this case, and you can understand what is the defect in the total costing system and how these two systems are different as far as costing of the different products are concerned. Now, we are asked some other questions here. So, what other these questions are? The other questions asked here are, in view of the above information, prepare a schedule calculating the unit cost and the gross margin using ABC approach. We have done that, right. We have calculated the unit cost and the gross margin following the ABC approach, that we have done. Based on the ABC results, which course of action would you recommend regarding the proposal given by MUL to RA? Reject the proposal. We have to reject the proposal because MUL is offering them a price of 7.5 rupees. Our cost is more than that, 11 point something 11.675 rupees. So, we are not able to sell them for the 7.5 rupees. Either they have to jack up the price to 12 rupees minimum, or we have not to sell it to them. So, we have to reject their offer. And the last point here in this case is list the benefits and the costs associated with implementing the ABC. So, when you talk about the benefits of this costing system, we try to find out the benefits of this costing system. First benefit is this system is more accurate. This system is more accurate pricing will be possible to be done. So, this is the first benefit of this system, it is more accurate as compared to the total costing system. So, first benefit is there, and the second thing is there that it helps to solve the problem of over costing oblique under costing, because it is most you can call it as effective system, is the most useful system, more accurate system. So, problem of the over costing and the under costing can be removed, and once you are implementing ABC in any organization, then what we are doing is that our planning will improve, our operations will improve, our profitability will improve, and our overall customer service will improve because profitability will go up. So, these are some major benefits. Actual major benefits is the accurate pricing, accurate costing and accurate pricing, and overall impact upon the firm as a whole is very good, very positive, right. So, this is the system which we should implement, and we should try to bring this system in the organizations so that we can reap the benefits of the actual pricing or maybe the right pricing of the different products in the company or in the manufacturing organizations. This is not only required to be done or possible to be done in the manufacturing organizations, even the services can also be rightly priced if they are rightly costed. So, this system is applicable in both the cases, this products also and the services also, in the manufacturing organizations also, in the service organizations also. We have seen the difference, how the difference occurs, and how ABC system is much better, more accurate and more useful, right. Now, last question here we have to answer is, what are the costs associated to implement the ABC? Costs to implement ABC. What are the different costs associated to implement the ABC system? So, if you talk about these costs, means it is a very expensive system, it is not very easy system, it is a very expensive system. So, we have to find out the cost and why the firms are not say finding it so easy. First one is the cost of the or the salaries of those employees who are into this system within the firm. The salaries of those employees, of those people who are responsible for creating or implementing the ABC in the firm, because they are the permanent staff. Once you think of bringing the system into the place, then those people, a team of the people, a costing division has to be created, a permanent team of the people have to be employed for this purpose. Their training, their retention and their upkeep cost is very high. So, this is the one permanent head of the expense which is going to be there. Second is the cost of consultants. Cost of consultants, because every time it is not possible for the firms to find out this cost themselves or to create the system in the firm by themselves. As I told you in the previous classes that as far as the non-living material is concerned, non-living resources are concerned, allocating those costed sources or resources to the cost is not a problem at all. That can easily be done, but the living resources, allocation of the cost of the living resources is a problem. And living resources are like say human beings. I told you that for example, in our say accounts department 10 people are working, and these accounts department people are the permanent employees, their cost is fixed, their salaries are fixed, and we are manufacturing say 4 products. So, how much time these people are giving to product A, product B, product C, product D, finding out that time product wise, calculating the total number of hours and the distribution of that total number of hours to different products is not an easy job. So, cost of the cost division and employees working there within the organization, cost of the consultants hired for implementing the system in the company, and then is the data collection cost, because data collection itself is very typical job. Data collection from the non-living resources and data collection from the living resources, and then calculating the total cost is again a very cumbersome job. So, means we have to collect the data until unless you have the total information about the total resource, as in this case was 33 lakhs, how much is the quality control cost, how much is the production run cost, how much is the setup cost, how much is the shipping cost, how much is the shipping administration cost. So, head wise cost we have to find out. Then the total number of the drivers, that how many products are scrapped, they can change also over the years, they can change also, total number of shipments, total number of say setups, total number of say your that is the production runs, and then calculating the per driver cost. Again it is a complex, and that does not remain stable, that keep on changing also, and then finding out the consumption of the drivers by a one particular product. That is the most tedious job. I am telling you accounts department people, 4 products we are manufacturing, one product is consuming how many hours of those people in that department, that is a very important question. So, the consumption of one particular product, consumption of the cost drivers, number of the cost drivers by one particular product is a very tedious job. Once you are able to find out the total number of the cost drivers and then the cost per driver, and then to say consumption of the drivers by the different products, by the respective products, you can find out the say the indirect cost, allocation of the indirect cost to that particular product in that cost sheet of that product, and the problem of simply allocating the overheads as a percentage of direct labor or direct material will be removed. Once you are able to allocate that indirect cost to that system, so it means entire data is with us, and that data can be used for calculating the total cost. So, and after that is that when you are going for say implementing the ABC system, the most difficult thing or most expensive thing could be that apart from the ABC system which we are creating, ABC costing division we are creating, that is only for the internal control. Finally, for the external reporting you have to create a different division who will prepare the product wise profit and loss accounts or the consolidated profit and loss account and balance sheet. So, you have to create 2 different divisions. One is the internal costing division. If it is a simple total costing based costing division, it is very simple and say straightway the simplest job to be done. But when ABC has to be done, so internal people are working, consultants are working, regular updation is being done, data collection is being done. So, the cost is there, and that cost is more than the normal system. So, internal system will be different, external reporting division will be different. So, 2 cost structures you have to create, and that is sometimes very difficult. And the last main difficulty is that is say keeping the system going on and communicating this information about this system to the employees when they means old employees are transferred, new employees join the organization, to understand the whole ABC system in the costing division by the new employees, sometimes it becomes a problem. So, upkeep of that information and upkeep of that system again itself is a challenging task. But means all these limitations, all these costs if you set aside, the overall benefits are very high, and if you are able to accurately cost the products, you will be able to accurately price the products. So, problem of over costing and under costing will be gone, and we will be able to hit the bull's eye that whatever the price we want to fix up, that will be the actual price based upon the actual cost plus margins. So, the right profits and the right profitability can be calculated. So, number 1 is we have seen what is the ABC conceptually. Number 2, we have seen how to calculate the cost under ABC, per unit cost under ABC, and how it is different from the total costing system. Then we have seen that what are the benefits of implementing the ABC system and what are the costs and the difficulties associated to this system. So, means you can understand that if we are able to do this system, we are able to solve many problems and the true profitability of the organization can be found out. So, we should shift from the total or absorption costing system to the activity based costing system. The benefits of this system are known to all of us, but since it is very complex, so many companies in India, they are not say able to follow this system, because understanding, implementing and upkeep of the system is somewhat cumbersome and expensive task. So, this is because of the limited time available here. I have discussed only one problem, but there are so many books, so many resources. The book which I have suggested to you, that is Management Accounting by the C.T. Horngreen, they have also discussed this concept very clearly, activity based costing system very clearly, and you can refer to that book or any other book, or you can search in the net that what is ABC. You can search some problems in the net, how that ABC can be activity based costing system can be implemented, how the cost under this system can be calculated, and how they are different from the total costing system, right. So, but largely if you refer to the book which I have given to you in the course plan, that is the Management Accounting by the C.T. Horngreen and Stanton, this is a Pearson publication, then that problem is your problem of learning about ABC furthermore in detail will be resolved. So, this is all about the activity based costing system. I will stop here, and in the next classes, next say 3 or 4 classes, we will be learning about the another concept, that is the last concept in this subject, that is the management control system. MCS, management control system, that how the management control system can be implemented, what are the different tools of implementing the management control system, and how that management control system helps in attaining the overall organizational objectives very efficiently and in a best possible manner. Thank you very much.